Hello everyone, thanks for joining our webinar on IIoT with Qt 5.11 and beyond, featuring Qt for automation. During the session, if you have any questions, please submit them by the Q&A box at the top of the interface. Please use only the Q&A functionality to send your questions to allow us to answer them in an efficient way. Those questions will be answered at the very end. The webinar will be recorded and you'll receive a copy of it delivered to your email account. I hope you enjoy, and now I'll hand over to our experts, Lars König and Michele Rossi. Over to you guys.
Hello everybody, and welcome to that webinar. So my name is Lars König, and as you can read, I'm the business program manager for automation at the Qt company. And with me there's also Michele Rossi. Michele, are you there?
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm product manager for automation. I'm based in Berlin. So today we are going through all the items about Qt for automation.
Thanks, Michele. And we are running that webinar. I expect to have around 30 minutes to talk about that. So we will certainly have some time for also the Q&A session. And if we talk about this webinar, there's a brief section about why we have Qt for automation, what's the mission, what we are doing as a vertical at Qt, what is the Qt for automation offering as such, and more in-depth description of the values in automation which are relevant from our perspective. And as we go on with that webinar, I would really encourage you to write down questions. It's not the more we can address your view, your needs or your comments or whatever questions, the better. So go ahead and write everything down which comes in your mind. So why we have Qt in automation as such. So the trend we see for automation as being a vertical, we call that industrial and infrastructure automation. So everything in industrial environments is something we think is from the software perspective the same. Also infrastructure needs are the same, and all these areas we expect to have a lot of more devices coming up in the next years, and you see the developers won't born in the same pace. So there will be something to close that gap, and we see there's an opportunity for frameworks and tooling, and this is the field where Qt comes into place, and we believe we can help developers building faster the applications they are looking for and focus on their application. What are the driving factors in these areas? Of course, evolving connectivity. There are things ongoing. There's a lot of standardization activities. If you think of the Industry 4.0 and the like, and there's also trends of downscaling of devices, so towards MCU or even smaller sensors, which is also a trend. So, what are the challenges from our perspective? The first big challenge is the scalability issue. So there are various aspects of scalability from the data perspective, scalability from the development perspective, and this is certainly something which will become more relevant in the future. Other challenges like interoperability are also quite important. So the more devices you have, the more connectivity you have, the more these devices need to interplay with each other, and that's certainly a big driving factor. So there's also the question of long-term support. You know that Qt is quite kind of important in that, or good in that area. And the last big challenge we see is, on the long run, is the monetization. I would expect to come that box in a second. Yeah, the future business models, which will also be relevant for our customers. That's actually something which many automation vendors still keep on the same business model, but we expect to have other business models in the future. Just as a brief introduction, a movie we made together with Ulstein Company, which created a UI with Qt and the application part with Qt as well, and the data part is integrated with data TDS, a data distribution service. And you can see here how well they introduce Qt in this section, in this movie and product, and how well they addressed all the specific needs for automation customers, like alarm management, and making that visually appealing, showing the whole factory, or in this case, it's a ship, and how nicely this integrates. And the beauty is not only user interface in this product, it's also the how easy they can configure and reuse that architecture with different scenarios.
So I would like to make one point around one specific scenario, that is the Industry 4.0. We would like to underline one interesting customer case we're facing. So the needs of the customer to reviewing their own machine and selling an improvement, not only about the hardware part, but also the software part. In this case, we are talking about a CNC machine, and the specific need was not only reviewing the UI part, but also the way the company is communicating to the technician that has to use the touch panel, for example. And this is really important, how the digitalization in factory automation is bringing to value about the information, how we are communicating through software value for technicians. So in this case, for example, was built an application based by app. And in this case, you can see how easy it is to select different type of application inside one unique application. For example, one of the sub application was the document management, where the technician in front of the CNC machine can see manuals or documentation related to how to control the machine. But not only documentation, the way they were using Qt is also using 3D in order to understanding the way the hardware part has to be plotted directly inside the machine. So all these scenarios related to the UI are important in digitalization inside the factory, but also, as we mentioned before, the connectivity. That's really, really important trend. For example, as we can see in this case, connectivity to IT infrastructure like ERP, MES, and everything related to the actual installation inside the factory. So these were only two, customer cases we were mentioning, but now we would like to talk a little bit about what is our focus in industrial infrastructure automation. So we see Qt being the framework for the edge devices, and where we are focusing from the needs perspective are connectivity. So connectivity for us means focusing on technology support on cloud connectivity, or to the sensor and actuator connectivity. So how can I retrieve data from the field or for the installed base inside the factory or inside the smart cities? On the tooling part, of course, we are focusing adding more value on top of the normal standard Qt. Where we are also focusing, it's a really important trend in automation, is adding a chance to having remote UI on top of the application. So having the application running inside the browser, for example. In this case, also safety and security, a specific need that we are trying to target. And of course, everything related to advanced UI, so providing more and more value on top of the actual Qt offering.
Okay, that's thanks to Michele for that. And let's talk about Qt for automation. So the automation values which we see being, so the toolbox or the parts from Qt, which we believe are really relevant for automation customers, and especially also the added value from the Qt for Automation offering. So Qt for Automation is a commercial add-on to Qt, and what you see here is both the values from Qt and the additional values which are available. What you see here is also the release schedule 5.11 and 5.12. So 5.12 is the next planned version. And there is already a lot of stuff inside. So we will talk about all these aspects like Qt Design Studio, WebGL streaming, WebAssembly, serial bus, co-op, MQTT, KNX and OPC, and more in depth in the following slides. And you can see here what is already coming with Qt 5.11 these days and what will be available with Qt 5.12 soon. So there's new stuff coming even in 5.12, like the co-op stuff, so co-op protocol and the security with that. And on the MQTT level, which is already popular for many of our customers, we will introduce the level 5 of the specification.
So thank you, Lars, for the introduction. Now we would like to start mentioning some specific technology related to remote UI. Here in the slide, you can see how Bosch was integrating Qt WebGL technology inside their own testing bench for a diesel injector. In this case, the needs of Bosch was having a control of the application by remote directly on the headless device. So in this case, without having any connectivity to any monitor or to any touch panel. In this case, WebGL technology allows to stream GL commands directly in the browser, and that's the advantage in industrial infrastructure automation, not having the need for the end user installing an application. So you can run the application directly inside the browser, just pinging the IP address of the headless device, and how in this case was managed by Bosch, having the application running on the browser showing like alarming or showing the trend of the recording of the measure inside the factory. And we see this being as really common needs inside the industrial infrastructure scenario. So not only supervising the values, but also zooming, for example, or also controlling the value remotely.
Yeah, this maybe just jumps one second back. This is from the developer perspective really cool. So you don't need to care about anything on the remote end on the browser side. So there's no screen size you need to care about. There's no whatever, is it mouse operation or is it touch you need to take care about. It's just another backend, and you deploy it. And if you, for instance, resize your window on that screen, then it just rescales and optimizes to the screen size you have. So that's really cool. So I would even say it's possible on mobile devices. Yeah, yes, of course, we have already seen that on mobile devices in various ones.
Thanks, Lars. In this case, we would like also to put on the table an interesting proof of concept on top of WebGL, but can be also VNC technology. We call that mirroring, and this is allow user in a specific use case scenario, like remote training or remote maintenance, where you have the need, for example, to screen to mirror your data that are, in front of the browser directly to the HMI that is in front of the technician or in front of the maintenance guys in facing the machine that the OEM customer is building with the HMI. And also we think this is a really common scenario in industrial infrastructure. So if we see, I don't know, industrial ovens, for example, or industrial HMI in machines like packaging machine or wood machine, everything related when you need to provide remote training, this is an interesting use case. The last technology about remote UI that we would like to mention is Qt for WebAssembly. So in this case, the difference between WebGL and WebAssembly technology is that WebGL is having the computation of the application inside the server. In this case, Qt for WebAssembly allows the application run directly in the browser. So you are downloading the application inside the browser, and the computational part is not in the server, but in this case is more on the client part, saving power and hardware resources on the server. So running really shortly the video, it shows you how easy it is to deploy your application, not only on the embedded part, but also on the web, because WebAssembly, of course, is a platform that we are going to support. As we have seen for the 5.11 is already a TP, but we are planning to have that as a full release in the 5.12.
Of course, that scenario allows also multi-user sessions. So as every instance has its own process, right? So that's a little bit different to the WebGL scenario, where only a one-to-one connection is possible at these days. But this is really nice, and if you see that from the deployment and design scenario, you can create the same device also on the web and play there or compete with web applications.
So we talked about the remote UI aspect. Now we would like to focus more on the connectivity part. We would like to start mentioning one library and one module that is part of the Qt. In this case, is Qt Serial Bus. And we would like to underline the Modbus library that is readily used in automation, both in factory and industrial automation and infrastructure automation, like building automation or smart cities. And this allows most of the time to retrieve and control devices in the factory scenario, like servo drives, inverters, everything that can be controlled via Modbus protocol, and the same for the infrastructure scenario, like meters, smart meters, and everything that allows you to communicate via Modbus protocol. Another protocol that, another aspect that we would like to mention is Qt MQTT. As Lars was mentioning before, we are working on updating the specification to the last specification level 5 for the 5.12. But today we have the protocol level 3.1 and 4 support already in the 5.11. And what MQTT allows you is a telemetry protocol based on publisher-subscriber connectivity. In this case, you need a browser, you need a broker in order to manage the information sent via and through clients. And this allows a use case scenario like cloud connectivity or integrating and enabling different devices communicating with each other. Like in the demo we are showing now in the video, where the smartwatch and the tablet are sharing the same data thanks to the MQTT protocol, and also the Azure cloud is retrieving the data via broker thanks to MQTT. Another item we would like to underline is the Qt KNX module. In this case, we invested in KNX because we are focusing also in infrastructure scenario, and KNX is a common standard for building an automation application. In this case, the scenario we are enabling is the client part, where we invested for the 5.11. And in this case, you can create your own HMI, you can create your own touch panel on top of your house directly using Qt and the Qt KNX as a protocol in order to retrieve data and sending data to all the KNX devices in the architecture. In this specific demo, we integrated also the Amazon Echo voice control, just in order to show what is our focus. I mean, we would like to be the framework that allows different home automation and building automation technology provider to communicate each other. So Today, what we support from the technical aspect, the KNX NetIP implementation as a client part, and we are looking into, of course, having the latest technological support of the standard in the KNX world. Another item we would like to underline, this is more related to factory automation and industrial automation, is the IIoT OPC UA. We built this technology thanks to our partner, Basiscom, that allows us to focus initially to the client part. This allows us to create the top one scenario that you can see in the picture. So building an application mainly for the client part. Like in this case, what we develop is not a full stack implementation like we are doing for the KNX, but is a wrapper API for two multiple backend that are now available. One is one open source, Open62541, and one is commercial only unified automation backend. So using Qt and IIoT OPC UA, now you can easily build a Qt application on top of desktop, on top of embedded devices, on top of mobile, simply connecting to these available backends. Use case scenario, as I mentioned before, are touch panel, are SCADA system, are gateways, everything related to retrieving information from our OPC UA server. Just a few words on what we are focusing next on OPC UA, just because we believe that OPC UA will be the next standard protocol in industrial automation scenario. We already recorded a webinar that is available online. Please check that if you have any other question about OPC UA implementation. What we are focusing now with Basiscom is stabilizing the API. So we need also user feedback. So please, if you are testing these days OPC UA implementation, send us feedback. And what we are working also as an upcoming feature are the event, having the QML API, node management, all this type of technical aspect. But also what we are looking into is more on the research topic, is how we can also be part from the use case scenario to the server backend support. So in order to allow Qt running not only on the HMI, on the visual part, but also on the headless device like the PLC or gateway or IPC in this type of scenario.
Maybe just one word from my end towards OPC UA. So I'm watching that now for a couple of years, how important that is. So mainly from the European perspective, being at events here. Just last week I was at the Automatica in Munich, and last November there was the SPS in Nuremberg. So both in Germany, but pretty prominent events, and you see that all everywhere. So always you see OPC UA as an activity. So I don't know, as I've seen that many people are not from Europe joining that webinar, so that's certainly an important aspect to watch out. Yeah, let's talk about other things like our design or tooling frameworks, and there I'm glad to mention something that is brand new. So it's just released today. It's in new Qt Designer offering, and especially the Qt Design Studio. Really, please have a look to the website. So this is just noon today being got live, so that's the brand new stuff. And if you look to the video, so that's like to mention that this is a design tooling which is really complex. So it's by far more complex than our previous design tooling, and that's something to mention. And the other part is you can create really rich UIs with that. So it's already today something where you can really create impressive user interfaces with Qt Design Studios like this instrument cluster UI, and everything built here has been done with Photoshop plugin integration, so with a smooth handover to the Qt Design Studio, and all capabilities on the Qt Design Studios itself built without any programming skills. So you can, we introduce, or we focus also on the designer these days by that. So if we have a look to the features we introduce with that tool, that's actually the design workflow. So the idea of the Qt Design Studio is that you can create assets in third-party tools like Photoshop. You import these assets into the Qt Design Studio. You use capabilities like timeline editor or visual effects, and you could create a QML code of that, and the developer use that to finalize and hook that into the back end. So the prototyping and the product release cycles get way shorter. We're fast iterations. You're going to reuse components. You will have templates for different scenarios. And at the end, the time and effort saved with that is massively reduced. And then, of course, it's also pixel perfect. But the most important thing to watch out and to get an idea what's coming with that, it's our roadmap of Qt Design Studio is, first of all, we have built a pretty rich Photoshop bridge. That's the first bridge we have introduced. So next year there will be another bridge to Sketch. There is in the Qt Design Studio a QML live preview. So as you use that, there is the live preview either on your machine or on your target, so you can see what's happening. There is a timeline and animation editor, so everything what you have seen with the needles, etc. So with charts created, that's also inside. It's coming with some built-in visual effects, so as to drag and drop template shaders on your UI element. There are QML shape items. There's the state editor coming with that, and as I said, templates and visits. That's the state of today, as you know, and there will come more, like the integration of the Qt 3D Studio. There are more bridges to come, as I said. Advanced state management, data model, and UI flow, Git support, advanced annotations, and guidelines. Of course, there's also intended to have an ecosystem of third-party plugins towards that. So, but we are also looking for customer feedback. So if you're interested into that tool, please have a look. There's by far more to tell about that tool than I have time today, but it's something to really watch out. And if you have already experience with Qt, then it's certainly something to just go for a trial and provide feedback on that. Talking a little bit about scalability, that's another aspect. Something we also working on as a research project, and that's also something going to service projects soon, is that we even further downscale Qt on MCUs. What you see here is the video where Qt runs on MCU. And if you have any projects upcoming with that, and you think that could be a fitting case, please reach out to us as well. Michele, you still there?
Yes, I was ending the video, and at the end, I would like also to mention.
Yeah, this is also an activity we are looking into, and that's also quite important on the on our end, and we are looking for feedback. So we will have soon an application manager on board, which has been developed let's say in a different ecosystem, but still based on Qt, and that will be available soon. It's based on Valent, so it's Valent protocol compliant. There will be creator plugins, so you will be able to create applications isolated in a sandbox via Linux containers. There will be the central point of starting and stopping internal or third-party apps. There's a virtual keyboard component coming across all apps. It's using transparency used across all applications. And there's also an API for system-wide notifications messages with that. So that's also, let's say, a pre-announcement or something that is coming towards the Qt ecosystem more prominently. And if you're being interested into that and you like to give us a feedback, please reach out to us as well. So that's also something we like to mention today. If you have if you're being interested into Qt for automation as such, as being you like to try that and start with that, there's a way of doing that. Qt for automation is an add-on for Qt, either Qt for device creation or Qt for application development. If you're already a customer of one of those, or you have that up and running, that's an option. So in this case, just go to your website and click and ask us to get in contact with you. But also in case you have not so many experience with Qt, use the same and reach out to us and let us know. Of course, there are also usual email means towards the webinar. If you have any questions, of course, later on, there are also ways to get in touch with us. Last but not least, I like to mention something what we have worked on recently. So that's something I am pretty proud of what we have done. It's an automation blog series. So many of our colleagues invested a lot into writing blogs, really technical. So not that high level as to what we are doing today. So if you have more in-depth questions towards certain topics, these blogs are always pretty up to date, and it's really going into details. So this automation blog series has one intro talking about all our challenges and why we have come up with the other blogs. And there's one blog about optimizing device communication with MQTT. How do you set up a server? How far do you downscale from the bandwidth perspective? There's a blog about serialization. There's a blog about building a bridge to DDS. How easy is data distribution service, as you may or you may not know. That's a pretty prominent data-driven architecture for the future of IoT scenarios, and also well known and more prominent in the US. We have shown how easy it is to integrate that with Qt. There's a blog about remote UIs with WebGL and WebAssembly. And if you have any questions, and there's actually one question in the Q&A, which is probably being answered in all details in that blog. And there's a blog about integration into cloud solutions with the typo as well. So how do you integrate into Azure, for instance, and how easy that is with Qt. And as said, there's the Design Studio there's a design studio, everything around that, the website and the blog, the intro of that, which we recommend to you. There's tons of content available under resources.qt.io as well. So our marketing agency department is pretty active, providing all everything we have in our end to you as fast as possible and most convenient way. So that's all from my end, and or let's say our end. And thanks for keeping alive and while that session here. So let's go to the questions. Michele, do you want to answer a question?
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to read the first question. What's the advantage of WebGL compared to WebAssembly? So in this case, as we tried to mention before, we talk about two different technology. WebGL is a streaming GL command to a browser, and in this case, you are having the computation on the server part. So whatever you need to have, like headless device, and you need to connect remotely to that headless device, WebGL can be really well fitting that specific need. In this case, WebAssembly, it's really interesting when you need to have the computation on the client part, and you need to, run the application on a maybe low-end device that needs to have computation on the server side. So in this case, application can be like I don't know, a product configurator running on the browser side, and connectivity to WebSocket directly to the installation. So that can be one use case scenario for the WebAssembly. And of course, the fact that today the technology of WebGL allows you to have multiple connection opening different type of services instead of having native support. This can be also one aspect that can also introduce you using WebAssembly for multiple client applications. So that can be another scenario why you are using WebGL or why you are using WebAssembly. Lars, I don't know if you want to add something else on this.
No, that's totally fine.
Okay. If not,
I really recommend the blog about these two technologies and how to work with that. So that's certainly a good way.
Thanks for highlighting that. This is true. So we tried to writing a blog post with Michael Winkelmann, our guy here in the Berlin office, tried to underline which are the difference of the use cases between the WebGL and WebAssembly, and how Lars was mentioning before. Just going back to the slide here in this specific blog post, you can find all the information around the two main difference. I hope I was able to at least answer to your question, and I'm moving forward to your next question. So in this case, how can Qt be useful in IoT gateways? So the way we see Qt now fitting the gateway scenario is that we are working on the remote UI technology, so WebGL and WebAssembly, and having one unique framework for your UI application, your non-UI application can save you a lot of money just because you are standardizing one tool for all your type of embedded devices or all your type of desktop application. This can be one benefit. And also due to the fact that we are working on MQTT and trying to give also the connectivity aspect to the remote UI, to the gateway scenario, this can be another important aspect we would like to underline. So MQTT, OPC UA, KNX, of course, in the infrastructure scenario, this can be useful also for gateways.
Yeah, there are multiple answers to that. Of course, if you asked, so it can be useful in IoT gateways, there are a lot of reasons why it could be useful, but it also depends a little bit really on what you intend with the IoT gateway. So in this case, you probably, we can only guess what is really intended with the IoT gateway, right? So So we think for many scenarios it could be useful. We know that Qt is being used for many devices, even UI-less devices, or having no having headless devices, or and remote UIs. So there's Qt being really prominent. But of course, at the end it comes down to the exact requirements, intention, what kind of intention you have, if Qt would really fit. Could also mean that Qt won't fit, right? So to be frank here, so in this case you probably need to go for further analysis and of course maybe talk to us or not.
Yeah, exactly. So please, if you have any specific feedback about your use case or you know, your case scenario, please reach us. And
depends on the details.
I think that's the questions we have for now. Maybe we'll wait for a little bit longer if anyone's typing any questions. Again, you can leave your questions at the top of the interface by pressing the Q&A box and entering it there. But maybe we'll wait for a few more seconds, and then if there's no more questions, we'll end the webinar for now. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any more questions for today. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. If you do have any more questions that we didn't go on, please send us an email at info@qt.io and we'll answer them for you then. But until then, I wish you a great day or evening. Until next time, goodbye.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.